Alrighty then. It is but another day, and it is a video that is, I guess, I don't know, a lot of my stuff seems to be more critiquing, negative, etc. I'm not gonna be as finical about it. Here's my general thought process for the next season, which is, Tower Memories coming to a close, and the next season is gonna be like Crown of something or other. My opinion about the next season is that I can actually look up the thing just to make my life a little simpler. Crown of Ashes. My opinion is that there could be an extreme paradigm shift with the 90-member guild thing. It is all dependent on how they do things. The new PvP game modes, again, it's all dependent on how they do things. I haven't seen a lot of positives regarding how they do things, so it's hard to say one way or another what's going to happen. But for the most part, I am going in with mild optimism that perhaps something will change. Me and my guild and other people have been stuck in our allied server for a long time, so getting the chance to not be stuck in that for this is going to be a different thing. And I'm hoping to move on. I've already told my guild I want to move on to a more competitive guild, but I will do my best to try and get them to a more, merge with a guild that works for their particular needs. I've already talked with a few people in the past that we've worked with, a few guild leaders. I say work with, but we've been in the same districts with, essentially, basically been in the same districts with. And I have a few options on the table. I will say that, in general, I am, in the next season, I will be essentially a free agent for different guilds. If I end up with one of the guilds that I talked with, I'll probably try and join them. If not, then I am open to strong competitive guilds recruiting me. I guess you could say this is like a mild advertisement. I am, what's it called? I have this amount of base power, 112 billion. I definitely am not just a free-to-play player. I have spent a decent amount. As you can see in the corner here, I have quite a bunch of P4s. I've gotten Freerun to P4. I have a lot of characters that are P4. Not all, but a lot. You can see here, just by a slow scroll, what characters I have, what characters I don't. A lot of Hypogens I don't, because they're money pits. But, that's to be expected. I usually try to get every character to at least S+. Because you never know what's going to happen. But besides that, for outside of that, because I doubt that most guild leaders are looking around at a random YouTube video to see if, someone wants to join their guild or whatever. My recommendation to people who are in a similar situation where they're going to be free from their thing or whatever is advertise yourself well, advertise your guild well. Determine what you want to do with your guild. I have determined that my guild, if we were the heads of a merger, we'd probably be very casual because our current rankings are not the greatest. You don't see it, but in Guild Supremacy, we got, I believe, 4th at the very last second. Which we usually were, before we would take around, 2nd, 3rd, sometimes 1st in the past, but we've lost a lot of people, so it's to be expected. As you can see, we usually get a pretty high ranking in Clash. This time we got 6th because I chose to have my guild go solo instead of working with another more powerful guild. And I mean, it was for our efforts. 3 of our games, we pretty much took every island. One game we didn't because it was, 2 guilds worked basically together, and we worked by ourselves. And a lot of my guild is not very PvP oriented. If you look at Supreme Arena here, the rankings, I'm the highest rank currently at 4th. Could I get 1st? It's not impossible, but I don't see a reason to right now, because usually you just get knocked out of 1st. There's no benefit. If you understand the game, there's no benefit to being 1st, just in the top 5. right now, at the moment, I just need to have 2 more wins, like in the top 5, to get close enough to get this thing. And then after that, I can just coast in the top 10, top 20. Usually, I'll stay in the top 10. Because, again, I've said my hypogens are not strong, therefore, and usually I get taken out by someone stronger. I don't think people are too concerned about PvP right now, and that's why I've been able to keep my rank for as long as I have, but nonetheless. Going back to the ranks, as you can see, my guild is very much like the next one is 15 Invictus. They're cool. I'll be hanging around with them for a bit. Then everyone else, gradually going down until they're like in the bare minimums. This guild has never been a very strong PvP guild. There are a few people who are relatively good at PvP here, but again, we were kind of just in a bottle, and if they wanted to have any chance of competitive play, our guild was the only real choice. There's nothing they could really do about it, because we were the strongest guild in the Allied server. Anyhow, opinions on what it is you guys should do before the next season. Now, this isn't like, Puzzle and all them do. It's not like, how to maximize your thing. No, I'm just saying, like, again, if you are in a situation like us, I would say try and make yourself advertisable, sort of like you're building a resume for yourself of what accomplishments you've done, how many times you've come in first, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I think, like, one of the best things you can do, which is just a simple thing to advertise, is going into the frames and then finding, like, whenever you have a PvP frame, like one that has the 5 stars on it, because this isn't a PvP frame, but just an example. Because then that basically shows that you got to a high rank in PvP. If you don't have that, then, 4 stars would be really good. If you can't get to 4 stars, I don't know if it's really worth putting it out there. I mean, I would say if that's not the case for you, the next best thing for a frame would be, like, go as far down as you can and find, like, an old frame. Sort of like this one or something. Because that was, like, one of the earliest ones. At least then it'll show you, like, how powerful or whatever you were. Obtain supreme points in Supreme Arena. I guess I never did this one. I don't know. I don't remember this season at all. I don't remember it. But either way. Basically, I think this is a simple way of saying, hey, you've been around for a while. You've been playing. Not to mention your power level is also helpful as well. If you want competitive, that is. If you want to be casual, I think it doesn't make any difference. You'll probably be fine. There's probably a lot of guilds that are very casual and won't really, like, care too much what your power level is. So you're not going to have any problem with that. Let's see. In terms of the characters, I suppose we should go over, like, there's, like, a bunch of characters currently in, like, the thing. So, what characters should people be building? I built Freerun to the max. I would say Freerun's probably a good choice. Himmel, not as much, but I mean, if you can get him to S+, that's probably good. Get him higher, maybe that'll help in the future, but usually warrior characters don't have they're not that hugely impactful most of the time. What about the other characters? Right now, there's a glitch with Nereon. I'm not going to explain it because Puzzle already has. But that glitch needs to go away because that's ridiculous. After the glitch is gone, I believe most people, the consensus at the moment, though the game will probably be like, make him important later. The consensus is that he's not that important. I think he'll probably be okay. Like, I think, like, he's, like, a better version of Lucy for the most part for, like, AFK stages. But besides that, I wouldn't really call him anything too special. This one is the most weird one to me, Evie, because, like, I have not seen a single real use for her. She's like a weird niche thing that, like, maybe someone who's really good at the game will understand how to use her properly, but for me, I haven't. Not to mention, in the next season, we've already figured out that Peggy is going to be one of the characters, which is another light bearer and a support, which is, I love Peggy. I love her design. Fantastic. I'm all about that, cute and funny. But anyway, besides that, we got Ravion. as a, currently for another 6 hours. I guess it doesn't really matter considering that when he's up, it's not bad to build him, but honestly, with how many new characters there are, I would just focus on the new characters and just put them in a wish list. Same thing with Shadewing. Like, Shadewing's important to a certain degree, but at the same time, again, just put him on a wish list. Trying to do it off of this is just not worth it for how many new characters there are. The next ones that are coming out, I believe, are Pandora and somebody else. I'll look at my phone real quick. But Pandora is actually really important, so I would say Pandora is one to look out for, but in terms of Pandora and Ludovic. Ludovic is kind of falling off to a degree. I've not seen him as often. He still is decent for PvP stuff or whatever, but again, wish list. I wouldn't bother with it. Pandora is hard to level up. That's the only one where it's like, it's iffy. The new characters might be more important to level up, but Pandora is still kind of important, and it's really hard to level her up, so if you have access stuff, it's not bad in my opinion. If you don't, you don't. Let's see. Besides that, in terms of who you should level up for the Hypogens, I'm currently leveling up Contis, because supported characters, in my opinion, are very important. People like Puzzle say, don't bother, just keep them at a specific level. Me, I like to make sure my supports are pretty high up. The only one that's an exception to that is Rainier, which at one point, maybe I'll level him up, but there's always new characters, so it's hard to do that. 1, I don't recommend Harok. I had Harok because he was good in the past. Don't recommend him now. 2, I would recommend Seda. Yes, because she's still really important, and you see her quite often in various things, and she's needed in AFK stages if you're doing AFK stages. 3, Bale. Yeah, I'd say recommend Bale. He's pretty powerful and pretty useful in like the late game stuff. Twins, again, yeah, they are used more than almost any other character. You'll look at your records, I assure you. If you use twins enough, and then you know. Foresto has kind of fallen off for the most part. For most people, I wouldn't bother with him. Same thing with Taylene. Gunner, I mean, in AFK stages, he's really needed. He's also used in, was a Dream Realm often enough. But I feel like in a similar situation to how we haven't seen Aliceth here for a bit, eventually he might fall off. I think her ability is a lot more important than Gunner's in the long run, honestly, so Alna is honestly kind of a better choice. Having Rainier built by default is something you should do, no matter what. Not hugely, but, to a certain degree. For PvP, this character is pretty important, though she hasn't been as important in recent time, but she is still important. Mahira is also important, but for the most part, as people said, you can use her at 1 copy. What about Aurora? Aurora is used, but I feel like she's going to get phased out because she was a free character, I think Kulu, you should have it at least built to a certain degree. Same thing with Dunlinger. The rest of these, not really. You don't really need to have them built. I've maintained a pretty high rank without having to keep Scarletta in the end game mode thing. So, probably not. But in terms of, like, the newest characters or whatever, I've already went through most of those ones. Celise is very important. They literally are giving her, like, a freaking pay-to-win skin. So, yeah, Celise is going to be important in the long run. What's-His-Face is actually really good. So, yeah, building him is not a bad idea. Getting Freerin built's not a bad idea. Let's see. I have Corden also close to being built as well. I don't think he's as needed as I was expecting, but he is, whenever there's a Mauler situation, he is there. So keep that in mind. Wishlist is probably good for that. What about, like, this character? I think for PvP, there are some situations where she's used. However, she also, Puzzle at one point mentioned that the only reason why she's as good as she is because of the current Phantomals. So it might be a situation sort of like with Atlanta or whatever the fuck her name is. Yeah, Atlanta. Where, like, she was used one time, one season randomly and then suddenly disappeared off the face of the planet. Same thing with Walker. So I wouldn't put too much bank on her, but she is interesting as a character. Like, she kind of does work well with some things. Not if you're going to build a Graveborn character in that area, it's not the worst one to build. I currently am also like passively building this guy because for PvP he's used sometimes. Her Pippa, I have not seen her almost used at all. Same thing with what's his face. Both of them not very necessary. Just focus on the newer characters, honestly, in my opinion. Unless like you just have a full wish list, then sure, put them on, but I wouldn't bother with them. Alright. Outside of that, what else can you do to keep things going? Currently, Crystal Clash is happening. I'm at the top of the Crystal Clash. For now, anyway. My advice for Crystal Clash? You pretty much, it's just a matter of timing. Make sure to find the most powerful gems. Make sure it's not something you can't beat. And then, geodes. The most powerful geodes. Make sure it's not people you can't beat. Oftentimes, look for the ones where it's like someone by themselves. That's the easiest ones to beat. And then just beat 2 of them, win, then just collect your rewards when you have the opportunity as quickly as possible. That's how you do this game mode. It's really not that hard. Ravage Realm, my opinion on that. What do you gotta do? Like, the big problem with me is that I don't have every single character to their max thing, whatever. Like the, what is it called? For the last runes, there's like a middle stage and then like the highest one. Like it's like the silver ones and then the gold. The silver stuff is the one I don't have. The gold ones I do. The silver ones you only get like 600 per thing, but it only literally those only will help to increase the level of 2 characters. So you have to choose wisely which characters you're going to allow to get to the highest amount. For, as you can see in, what's it called, the Dauntless one, for Mauler, I have him at the highest level. Pretty much every character besides Contis and Corden is P4, so that's probably why. And all of them have their thing to their max. I believe I don't have some of the Sylvan ones upgraded, and maybe a few of the Aurora ones. I've upgraded all the Immortal ones now, but it's also using a lot of Hypogeans, and Hypogeans I have only at S+ at most. So, they do okay, and I get a high enough score, but as you can see from the ranks, it's not the best score ever. My ranks kind of fluctuate for the most part, but when it comes down to Dauntless, I'm currently at the top. I'm not going to invoke Murphy's Law, but, for now I am. Opinions on next season stuff, what you should be trying to do. I'm going to go ahead and say this right now, that free-to-play players, go casual. I've said this a few times, just go casual. It's not worth it. Unless you're really good at keeping up with things, it's not going to matter. I've said in the past, free-to-play players, you should just avoid PvP. If the 90 guild thing happens, 90 member guild thing happens, and more stuff is required, and more PvP events are happening, PvP is going to become more of a focus, and PvP is pay to win. So, unless if you're really new to the game, which I don't know why you're watching this video for that, start building PvP stuff. If you're not new to the game, hopefully you have stuff for PvP leveled up, because if you don't, you're probably not going to be considered for high-end guilds, and competitive play is pretty much out the window for you. Unless, of course, you're just trying to be the highest ranked person in Dream Realm, which, as someone who's gotten high ranks in Dream Realm, let me tell you, it doesn't really matter. I mean, yes, that's the main game mode of the game, and that's the one that you have the highest chance of as someone that's free to play or whatever to get a higher score than somebody else. But in the end, it's just the rewards you get for it aren't really that impressive. And with the more push of PvP modes in the next season, I don't see what you're really gonna accomplish for a higher end guild. What I'm gonna say is your guild is not gonna be high level if you're focusing on Dream Realm. Your guild is probably going to be a casual, or I guess if you think competitive is 11th or lower, or possibly like at best 6th or lower, then sure, then you're competitive. But for me, in my opinion, competitive is the top 5. And even then, the 5th one for us for a while has been kind of like, they don't really try. It's like they can surpass you, but they're not really trying. So I'd say like only the top 4, technically, guilds really matter. Which is why I've mentioned I'm going to move on to a stronger guild when I have the option. I've talked to a few people in higher end guilds, but there's no specific place to like, what I think there should be some place where like, I know there's world chat, but world chat doesn't really help with things. I think that there should be, like, a chat specifically for, like, guild leaders that can talk with each other. Because, honestly, it's sort of dumb to have this thing where it's, like, what's it called? There's no real way to find out. There's no real way to communicate with other guild leaders in this game that are outside of your districts. So, if you get paired with a random group, then you just kind of have to make this new connection when you could have made an old one if, you were talking with them in a channel to begin with, and you would have already had a connection, and you could talk to them and do things with them, and you coordinate, whatnot. Talk about how things are going in their district, give some kind of, what is it, they said they want to expand social things for this new guild thing. Why can't we have a guild leader chat? I realize that there's probably like a lot of leaders that would apply to that, and it'd be hard to like shuffle them around, but I'm pretty sure most of the top guilds will know how to talk to each other, and the other ones will just talk about mundane crap, if anything. Kind of like council heads or something, something like that. But nonetheless, I apologize. I was on a screen for a bit there. My recommendation is to basically sell yourself if you want to sell yourself like you are trying to sell yourself as if you were trying to do like a job interview for like being in a higher end guild. And if you are someone that's not as powerful, you need to be as active as humanly possible in order to make up for that. You need to be doing everything you can to bridge the gap between you and your fellow guild members, etc. That's my opinion. If you want to be competitive. If you don't want to be competitive, in my opinion, just go casual at this point. I'm sorry. I realize people just think, oh, hey, I can still be competitive even if no, not really. I'm telling you this as someone who struggled and kept leg up generally. Again, we stayed in 4th out of the 5 that are generally-ish competitive. We were in 3rd, 2nd, 1st a bunch of times, but at the very end, we're 4th. I have tried to keep the guild going and competitive. I have constantly set reminders, etc. So, I mean, like, look. I'm telling you right now that we are currently in a bubble. Districts and Allied Server are a bubble. And when that bubble pops, and it will, with this new system or whatever, you are going to have a whole lot more people to constantly compete with. You're never going to be able to keep a rank for too long of a time because there's going to be more active people doing things. Eventually, it'll slow back down to how it was, or like maybe a little better than what it was, but in the beginning, it's going to be hectic to the bone, and you're going to be struggling to pick up even the smallest piece that you can in the ranking boards, essentially. So, keep that in mind. Anyway. With that being said, I look forward to something changing next season. I hope it gets better. I am going to get Peggy, and I'm going to do what I can to max her out, even if she's not that important, because I'm all about that cute and funny life. And anyway, that's all I gotta say for this, for the most part. If anything important comes up, I'll let y'all know. In terms of the other new characters, we don't know enough about them to do anything. We know that there's going to be another Hypogen character. I would really hope that Hypogen character is going to be... Sorry, Hypogen. Fucking Celestial. Celestial character is going to be, like, a free-to-play. Like, get the same thing as, like, Aurora. If not, be really not important, because I don't have... It's money. Money. And the other ones... Mauler Archer guy, I'm sorry, I don't really think the Mauler Archer guy is going to matter. They basically, this game has basically said Maulers don't matter unless, like, they're just kind of a supportish role. Oh yeah, considering she just walked up to me. We're going to be seeing her again in the next season. What's her face? I don't remember her name. But she's still around because, she went with she's now the person that's with the real people. So maybe there'll be more continuation of her being around the game. Is that a good thing? No, not really, because it might require us to build her more. But I will state that overall, I have increased her level. I don't care about what things float in the air. Shut up. You go away. Your 32nd academic thesis is that you are pretty much useless besides being a buff for Sylvan. And I did get her a level, I think, so I think she's P2. I'm hoping I don't have to level her up that much. And then I think, possibly with Peggy, because Peggy's, a better version of Floribel is what Puzzle was mentioning, and it looked kind of like that to me, too. We can use her instead of Floribel, which some people might find good, bad. I like Floribel, but at the same time, I don't like that she became more relevant after she was, it's been so long since she needed to be relevant, kind of thing. Meaning you have to spend time trying to upgrade a character that is not simple to upgrade. But regardless. In terms of the other new characters, let's see if I remember correctly. Maybe they have it in the news thing. News thing. Do you happen to have the news thing? Nope. Nope, not yet. Whatever. There's the assassin celestial person. There's the... Let's see. There's other characters that weren't listed as playable. There's Gwyneth or whatever. What I saw from Gwyneth wasn't that interesting. Lightbearers tend to be pretty miss with a few hits, so it's very possible that Peggy and Gwyneth won't be that important, but it's also possible that they will be that important because this game is weird about which characters matter and which characters don't. Shamira made no sense. She came in at the end of a season and literally just became the most used character for so long. It made literally zero sense. The mother of Damien.
Thank you.
It was so random. I don't, whatever. The devs have their favorites very clearly. And she's being kind of she's not fully phased out, but she's getting less important to the game, so take that as you will. But yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it. There's not much more to say about anything. Just, in my opinion, for the next season, try and sell yourself, work on your PvP. If not, go casual. And if you have a problem with that assessment, I don't know what to tell you. I'm relatively higher ranked in things. I'm trying to tell you this for your own good. You don't have to believe me. You can try your damnedest, but it's always possible they screw everything up and that doesn't actually happen the way I'm thinking. But if it does happen the way I'm thinking, then it's going to be an uphill battle for anyone who isn't a full-blown whale that has everything at P4. So, good luck. Get out of here.